Hi everybody, today is day 8 of Inktober and the prompt is teeth. So for this sketch, I only had the head and the hand done and everything else I just filled in day of. Teeth are challenging to draw for me most of the time. I just avoid the subject entirely, but I used a reference of a girl like showing off her grills or something, and honestly, I don't know how well the pose translated into the final sketch, but I'm going to try and not worry about it. I did a little zipper headband on her head. That was me trying to be clever since the little parts of a zipper are called teeth. So I don't know if it was kind of too subtle or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just thought it was a nice little detail to add in there. So far, this drawing feels like the lowest point for me because I didn't have that many ideas and wasn't feeling super motivated and didn't have like a vision for what it was going to look like. I ended up adding a little tattoo on her arm and like a rain cloud type thing in the background. But seriously, by like 5 p.m., I was just thinking, okay, I have to go cook dinner. And I knew that by the time I was done with all that there wouldn't be any daylight left to film anymore. So I was just ready to call it. So in the end, this piece feels a little bit unfinished to me. I'm not sure what I would have or could have done to make it feel a little bit more complete, but sometimes you just have to stop and move on. All right, for day 9, the theme was throw. So I had the idea to just have somebody holding a little dart. I was actually just scrolling through my Procreate and found a sketch of a floating head and hand and was like, oh, this could totally work, and just added a dart in her hand and then set it aside until the day actually came to ink it. And at that point, I realized the sketch was incredibly simple and kind of boring. So I just decided to add a cute blouse and sun hat just to give it a little extra something. And this day was actually a much needed confidence booster since I really didn't like my drawing from the day before, but this one was actually fun to make and lifted my spirits. Since the sketch was still pretty simple, I had some time to go in and ink a pattern on the hat, and I like how it turned out. My problem is I really love patterns, but they can be so tedious to draw, especially if you want it to look uniform and have all the aspects of the pattern look the same. But I had a good podcast on and just kind of zoned out, and it definitely ended up adding some much needed interest to the drawing. Also, being generally frustrated with ink washes, I did kind of a tie-dye background where I wet the paper first and then dropped the ink into it, letting it bloom out and create that tie-dye effect. Just because it can be hard to do a uniform wash in ink, and I also use this technique a lot with watercolors, especially adding different colors in together because it looks pretty cool, but it's also a lot less effort compared to meticulously painting a solid background. One last kind of epiphany I had this day was adding a bit more dimension to the hair. During Inktober this year and last year, a lot of times I'll just leave the hair as line work, and that can end up looking pretty one-dimensional. So I just went in and darkened up the lines in certain spots to add some more contrast, and I'm like, why haven't I been doing that the whole time? But anyway, so yeah, overall day 9 was a lot of fun to make. The theme for day 10 was hope, and this word always makes me think of the Emily Dickinson poem, Hope is the Thing with Feathers. I'll put it up on the screen just in case you want to pause and read it really quick. It's one of my favorites. So, in the poem, Dickinson presents a metaphor that hope is a bird that always sings and never asks for anything in return. It's always inside you, and no matter what you're going through, the bird never stops singing. So, I wanted to interpret this idea into the drawing, and I liked the idea of a bird freed from its cage, loyally remaining with the person that set it free, as a symbol of hope being something that is always with you. I added some cherry blossoms in the background, kind of as an afterthought actually, because the drawing was too simple on its own. But now I can actually see that these are also a symbol for hope in a way, because they represent springtime and renewal. In the end, the poem was such an integral piece of this drawing that I just put a few words from it in the actual illustration, and I really like how it turned out. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I really love that I get to share my Inktober process and all of the ups and downs. It definitely helps me stay motivated to keep drawing every day. Let me know if you're doing Inktober and how it's going for you. Thanks again, and I will see you soon. Bye!